Hi everyone, we're back and I'm with Dee and she's going to tell us a little bit about the series that she's written, produced, directed, kind of been a jack of all trades on, called Plans. So can you tell us a bit about it, Dee?
Sure. Plans is a 7-episode series. It's a cinematic series which we're going to upload onto the internet. The premise is basically you've got 7 people who live in a share house together in Sydney. The way that we're introduced to the house and the people who live there is the 7th housemate moves in, and his name is Zaya, and he moves in on Sunday. And the series takes place over 7 days. So he moves in on Sunday, and then we wrap up the series the following week on Saturday. And each day of the week is dedicated to a character who lives in the house, and it's essentially their episode.
Yeah.
And what happens in the episode beforehand is the catalyst for what happens in the next person's episode and really in their life at that point. So it's pretty much an experiment and also a look at how people who live in this sort of enclosed environment like a share house, it can be crippling sometimes to live with that many people, how they deal with their given circumstances when, unexpected things happen, when they don't necessarily plan for things happen in their day, and how do they deal with it when they're living with that many people.
Wow.
And each person has such a different personality type that each person deals with, everything so differently, so it's really nice to see it all explode at the end.
So the characters aren't like, friends that have decided to live together and this other random person's moved in. They're just kind of like random people that have been stuck in this house together circumstantially.
Yeah.
And so they're like, I would never choose to live with this person if I could.
That's true. A lot of the people who live in the house didn't necessarily, it wouldn't be their ideal people to live with.
Yeah.
But we've kind of set up the backstory like they've potentially been living together in this sort of environment and this setup for about 6 months. But the series takes place over 1 week.
Yeah.
So after about, however long they've been living together. But in saying that, there are interrelationships just to create drama. You've got a boyfriend and a girlfriend who live in a house, and his ex-girlfriend also lives in that house. So there's drama there, and then there's a brother and a sister. And then there's a couple of random people as well, but because it's human nature to be very cliquey and form friendships and bonds with certain people, you see that happening in the house.
Yeah.
So if there is a fight or whatever, you see the house being a little bit divided, or how people deal with choosing sides or whatever.
Yeah. So for you guys, like the premise behind it, when you guys were sitting there going, all right, I'm going to write this story, was it because you're just intrigued by human nature and the way humans react to stress and each other?
My ex has always said, my ex said to me, you're so into sociology, like just the study of people and the way that they interact with human environments. And I realized in a lot of my writing that that's true, that is what I'm really interested in. So I really want to see how these people deal with their given circumstances and each other. But also, Peter and I were very interested in embedding a lot of themes that don't necessarily come up on Aussie TV. So we deal with polyamorous relationships, for instance. The idea that you can be in love or have a sexual relationship with more than one person at one time. And then we also deal with the theme of loyalty. Deal with themes about family, love. There's a character in it. There's actually 2 characters in it. One's bisexual and one's gay. And kind of touch on the theme of sexuality and what it sort of means to be gay, and how people deal with accepting themselves, and if you do accept yourself, how does other people's views on that affect you? And so there are all these different themes, but we've dedicated one theme to each episode and each character's story. So it's a way for us to kind of say this is really important to be talked about, but this is a creative way we're going to do it.
Wow, that's awesome. So when you guys decided to kind of do this, was it important for you guys to tell the story from like a kind of an Australian perspective, like try not to Americanise the situation and go, all right, so we're going to deal with these issues, but we're going to deal with them from young people, Australian perspective? Are the characters all younger?
The characters are between the ages of 18 and 30. But, you know, I hear a lot of people go, oh, my idea of Australia is like a you know, sunburnt country and all that stuff. And it's like, well, you know, not everyone who lives in Australia gets sunburnt. That's not how, you know, our skin is made up. Like, we've got Indigenous Australians, you know, we've got people from Southeast Asia. Like, Australia is a multicultural country, so a lot of the actors who are playing these roles, you know, we've got Indigenous Australians in the series. We've got you know, someone who's Arabic. We've got Eastern Europeans, and we do have you know, English Australians. Like, but it's a very diverse cast, and yeah, it's just, we just really want to show that Sydney itself is a very multicultural place. And that every person's story and, you know, everyone who lives here should really get a chance to be on the big screen, because when I walk out on the street, these are the people that I see, but it's not necessarily the people that I see when I put on channel, you know, 9 or 7.
Yeah, true. So when you guys approached that, when you were writing and you went, okay, well, I want to realistically show the fact that this is a diverse place, and the reality is I don't go out for coffee with all my blonde hair, blue-eyed friends and we sit around and we talk about rugby union. We actually, you know, we don't, I mean, I think this country, for the most part, we don't see race. It is what it is, you know, like someone brings you coffee, you don't go, that Chinese guy brought me coffee. You go, that guy over there is my waiter. You don't notice that. When you approached it, did you think, okay, I could approach this and kind of work into the stories, this idea of people battling with their cultures, making sense in these lives where they're outside, or did you just go, you know what, I'm going to show it the way someone from Liverpool would say it, like culture isn't really an issue?
That's it. When we were writing it, we made the conscious decision that the people in the house would all look different, would all be from different cultural backgrounds and have different cultural experiences. But in the series itself, it's not a thing. So if you have someone who is Asian who lives in your house, you're not like, hey, Asian girl, can you please bring me my breakfast? Or like, hey, you know, hey, my Indian friend, can you please bring me... can you just change the channel? Like, it's not a thing. Like, these people... They look the way they look because they were born that way, and they just are who they are, but it is simply not an issue, and it's not something that we comment on. The biggest way that we can make a change in what we see, you know, on Aussie TV is by not commenting. Like, and when I say that, by showing these people who all look different, but not commenting and making a big deal out of it, just acting like it's the norm, because it simply is the norm. It shouldn't be a big deal to have, you know, an Eastern European looking person or an Asian or an Indian on TV. It should be what we see every day. It really should, and that's why we've put it in our series, and it's important. But yeah, we're not going to comment on it and make a big deal. It's just going to be something that's really normal and natural.
I like that because I was watching this new show that's out at the moment on SBS, and it's like a comedian, and he's an Indian guy, and it's quite funny.
He's awesome.
But I was sitting there with my partner last night who was Indian, going, I don't know if I want to laugh or if I want to feel offended.
Yeah.
And he was like, I know, right? Because, I mean, as an Indian, he's like, yeah, white people. And then he's looking at me, I'm like, this is creating a divide between us. Like, I know this is a joke, but I don't know what to feel. Like, and I felt at that moment, I was like, I don't know if you're helping this or if you're hindering us. Because it's funny, it's hilarious, but I don't know if you're annoying me or if you're making me think that it's ludicrous that it's there. So maybe, I mean, it's nice when someone goes, I'm just going to accept it like it's the norm in these people's lives, because it is.
Because a lot of my friends who, you know, live in the inner west of Sydney, for instance, they live in, you know, like warehouses or big share houses, and a lot of the people they live with, I mean, everyone's very different. Everyone comes from a different cultural background and they all look very different, but it just is very normal. And but yeah, I think it's interesting to note that it hasn't gotten to that point where it's the normal thing to see when we put on our TV. So, you know, we're the next generation of filmmakers, and we're the people who are more inclined to have friends of all sorts of different backgrounds and not necessarily just join with a certain type. Like, you know, where everyone's more like everything's more inclusive, I think, and it's great. It's great. I can't wait. And we're definitely not going to comment on it. We're just going to be like, hey guys, check it out.
Yeah. So you guys are doing a promotional event for it. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Sure. In order to raise money to create the series, because it's 7 episodes and pretty much a feature film when you put all the episodes together, there are a lot of production costs that we have to look into. So what I'm doing, I've created an event called Do It Now Productions presents Music Soiree Plans the Fundraiser. It's a mouthful. And what I'm doing, I'm hosting Music Soiree in a warehouse in Marrickville. So having a big end of year party on the 12th of December. Anyone can come. Simply what I'm doing is I'm hosting 8 Sydney-based bands. And those bands that I'm hosting are the ones who are going to be playing on the soundtrack and in the various episodes of my series. Yeah. So it's a beautiful collaborative night where people get to come to this party, buy a ticket, but all the money and the money from the tickets goes towards funding plans. But it's a whole night's worth of entertainment, so we can dance, and it's in December, and it's a great way to kind of wrap up the year.
Yeah.
And the musicians are so kind and so beautiful that they've donated their time.
Yeah.
And they're playing just to kind of get people excited about plans in the series, because they're also really excited to be playing in the series.
Awesome. And you brought along a song to kind of take us out. But before we do that, where can people go to learn more about plans?
If you type in on Facebook Plans, so that's how you spell it, Plans, you can like our page. We've also got a YouTube channel called Do It Now Productions, but so far at the moment we've only got a Facebook page going, and on the Facebook page for Plans there's an event invite to Music Soiree Plans the Fundraiser. But it's going to be an awesome night. So if you guys are into warehouse parties and dancing and body paint and I don't know what else.
Everyone into body paint?
Yeah, just like drumming circles. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. It's happening in Marrickville. And yeah, if you click on the event invite, which you can find on the Plans Facebook page, you can get the address. But definitely, please come along. It's going to be a huge party and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking to us, and we're going to be taken out by a song by the Sydney-based band Laura, and it is called Drifter. Thanks so much for being with us, Dee.
Thank you very much for having me.